Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go truck racing and cup racing at Richmond Raceway. Very excited to get this one underway. But first, we have some big breaking news involving Kevin Harvick, who's retiring at the end of the season. But he's still going to be involved in the sport, announcing this week that KHI, Kevin Harvick Incorporated, will be returning to NASCAR as Harvick plans to field a Cup Series team with Ford next season of the Career Mode. The details of the new team are limited right now, but of course it will be more expanded upon later on this season. But it has been confirmed that Harvick will be reunited with the number 29 with a sponsor to be determined. Of course, Harvick will not be driving, but he will be owning a Cup Series team with the 29 car. The driver has also yet to be determined, but we'll be revealing the driver, the sponsor, and the paint scheme relatively soon here in this Career Mode season. So I cannot wait for you guys to be able to see that. But let me know in the comments what you guys think of that news. I really didn't plan on doing that originally, but I saw there was a Ford team available, and I will be replacing the 32 car of Corey LaJoie's team, or Corey LaJoie's car, I should say. But you could see maybe LaJoie drive for Kevin Harvick in the next season of the Career Mode. But let me know who maybe you guys would like to see in that Kevin Harvick car as well here next season. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but I would love your feedback. But we come through now into the Truck Series race where we had subscriber Samuel Hudak. I hope I pronounced your last name correct, Samuel. Let me know if I didn't. But he was in the truck for us here today at Richmond. Unfortunately, when we come to Richmond in the Truck Series and whatnot, in the Xfinity Series later this season, we always seem to struggle at this track. And even in the Cup Series, sometimes we have a rough race here at Richmond. So I didn't really have very high expectations coming into this race. Currently one win on the season for us here in the Truck Series side of the series. But we are doing a decent job overall. Of course, the defending champions of the Truck Series. Hopefully we can back it up here with some more wins later down the line, but it was a struggle all night long here for Samuel Hudak here in the Truck Series race at Richmond, as he would continue to kind of fall down the order. He would make up a few positions here and there, and then he would kind of lose a few positions again. So it was a very up and down race for Sam here as he came through the turns. This was now towards the end of the race where the 16 of Austin Hill actually had issues, was coming out of the pit lane, made some contact with Sam into turn 3, and by the time we came to the final lap, Sam actually gets into the back of Austin Hill in the 16, moves him up the track. Actually, the 16 hits the outside wall there, and he passes him. Of course, it wasn't for position, but that whole move was just out of frustration after a long, just rough race for us here in the Truck Series as Sam comes out of turns 4 for the final time, coming down the front straightaway to cross the line. Not even a top 10, not even a top 15 here in the Truck Series as we end up finishing P21 for, I believe that's our worst race of the season. But like I said, every time we come to Richmond, I always expect a rough race no matter what the series is, so I was not surprised by that by any means. As Stuart Friesen, the Canadian, would pick up the victory here as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Jordan Anderson down there in P25, but Austin Hill would end up being in last. So we come through into the Cup Series. No Xfinity race for this episode here, so an off week for those guys with Paul Menard behind the wheel as we would get ready to go here for qualifying. We had the NZXT colors back on the car. The goal for qualifying was to hit a 20.640, but like I've mentioned already multiple times at the start of this episode, we never really run great at Richmond, and you're going to see as we come through out of turns 4, we're going to be way off the goal now with a 20.993, and we qualify P20 here for the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway. So we got a little bit of work to do to move our way forwards, but at the same time, I'm hopeful here as Haley Deegan qualifies P21 in what will be her second and final start in that 14 car, as Chase Briscoe will be returning from injury in the next episode at Talladega. Not the track that would be ideal to come back, but it'll be interesting to see how he does when he does return in Talladega. As you saw, Ross Chastain will lead the field to the green here at Richmond Raceway with Sheldon Creed all the way at the very back there in last place. Alright boys, fresh off of a victory in Bristol. We did a great job last week. I mean, we're at another short track. I don't see why we can't repeat that today. So let's go have a good one and get win number 3. There you heard myself on the radio. Definitely confident, at least on the radio, coming into this race, knowing, though, that we're probably not going to go and pick up our 3rd win of the season today. But at the same time, we've won here before in the Career Mode, kind of by surprise. So anything can happen here now, as you see Daniel Suarez actually starting at the back of the field after he missed the drivers' meeting. And there is some potential rumors in the Career Mode that Daniel Suarez might not return to Trackhouse Racing next season. What it will be their 4th season, I believe, in our Career Mode. But Suarez might be absent from that 99 car car for Trackhouse fourth season in the Cup Series now as the green flag is out and we are underway. Ross Chastain leads the field to green in that number 42 McDonald's Chevrolet Camaro as we go behind just Anthony Alfredo just in front of us here down into turns one. He had a great rookie season last time out in the career mode, and he's been having a very subpar season so far here, but here he is in Richmond actually qualifying relatively well here for the equipment that he is in as we're up the inside of that 14 car now as Denny Hamlin right off the bat is trying to take the lead away from Ross Chastain as we're right behind our rival of Joey Logano. You're going to see me probably throughout these next few episodes be as careful as possible. Logano, he has gotten through his whole probation of 3 races after that contact with us earlier this season at the Daytona 500, of course, but we are going to be so careful around this guy because we are getting closer and closer to getting him away from being a rival and back to a more friendly status or an angry status at us, which would even be an improvement. So if we can get Logano maybe a few more races without running into him, we're going to be in pretty good shape. So I was being as careful as I could behind him, following him through traffic. We had worked our way up inside of the top 15 now within just the first 4 whole laps of this race now as actually Noah Gragson goes up my inside, William Byron and Hailie Deegan also go through on the inside. Byron doesn't get clear though, so I actually get passed by Kevin Harvick even. So we drop down to P17 as we go down into turn 3, and that was just all because of myself not expecting Joey Logano to run the high line, but we would get past Logano and try to work our way back to the field. We would look to the right hand side of the 14 of Hailie Deegan, and then Zane Smith made it 3 wide up the inside, and now I clipped the outside wall there out of turns 2. I just got tight and I just made a mistake on that one now as we went down into turn 3. So we dropped back down to P17, and I was struggling a little bit here at about the halfway point in this first stage. We're running in the mid-teens and we just can't really go anywhere at this point. Denny Hamlin on my outside there as we try to get down to the inside lane, and you look at drivers that are leading the point standings here in the career mode right now. Myself, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and none of us are even in the top 10 as we're going to lose another spot there to Tyler Reddick and once again fade down to P17 as Brad Keselowski currently leads the way as we're now up the inside of Kyle Busch now as we pass him for that 16th position into the corner. And finally, it seemed like after I started getting up to P16 here and the tires were starting to wear a little bit more, the car was finally starting to come to me in the later portions of this first stage as Eric Jones and the number 02 McLaren had now taken the lead as I pass the number 88 of William Byron, and we go up the inside of the 42 of Ross Chastain, who started on pole, and now we've worked our way finally into the top 15, which has been way harder than I was expecting, and that has really kind of destroyed our hopes of potentially even getting a top 10 here in stage 1 now as we're to the back of the 8 of Tyler Reddick. We're not wasting any time. We have a chance to get to his inside, so I'm going to dive up the inside of the 8 car into turns 1 and try to move up now into P14, and we get to the back of Hailie Deegan as well, and we would go up the inside here on the exit of turns 4, and now with 2 laps to go in stage 1, we're going to be able to go through and make a pass for P13 as we close in on 12th place of Anthony Alfredo, who started about a row in front of us and has also been working his way forwards here as this first stage has gone on. But we came through now to start the final lap of stage 1 to the outside of Anthony Alfredo as Eric Jones continues to lead the way in the McLaren on this final lap of stage 1 now as we're going to actually just about complete this pass on Alfredo as we go down this back straightaway. Sure enough, we clear Alfredo and get to the back of Ryan Blaney, but he barely got to my inside. Alfredo did, so I stayed up here on the second lane and I completely messed up my entrance to the corner, so we give up the spot to Alfredo as we come through to cross the line here for P13 in stage 1, which caught me way off guard because I had thought we had a way better car capable of being up inside the top 10 here by the end of the first stage. Sorry about that, boys. I just kind of felt like I put myself in the wrong spot a bunch of times there in stage 1, so we'll try to be a little bit smarter about it here in the second stage, and yeah, let's go get it. There you heard myself on the radio to the team just kind of saying that we have to be smarter in stage 2 here. I put myself in bad spots in stage 1, but we would come into the pit lane here for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires. So Eric Jones picks up a playoff point. Cindric with P2 there. Harrison Burton inside the top 10. And Alex Bowman, our Hendrick Motorsports teammate, rounded out the top 10. As currently nobody has DNF'd here today now as we lose 1 spot actually on the pit lane. Drop to P14 after making very slight repairs there to the right side of the car after hitting the wall there in stage 1. Now as stage 2 is underway, and of course to start the second stage here at Richmond Raceway, we'll go into the AMP segment. Things continue there to not go well, as you see after the amp segment completes there. We are now down in P17 as we come through to turn 2, and the biggest problem for myself right here in this opening few laps is just getting down on the inside and making up ground now as Christopher Bell in the 20 car. He's going to go up the inside of myself as we exit turns 4, as now Noah Gregson briefly takes the lead from Brad Keselowski. So we drop down now into P18 finally on the inside lane, and then I make a mistake when I was able to get to the inside lane into turn 3 up the inside of Zane Smith, but now Kyle Busch saw the door open. He takes the opportunity, makes it 3 wide as we go down into turns 1. I dive in pretty hard into the corner to try and make it work, and well, it does not work whatsoever. So we exit turns 2, but fortunately we do get a chance to get back down to the bottom, so I would take that. We would pass Alex Bowman in the 48 car, who got P10 in stage 1, now down to P18 as we dive up the inside of Kyle Busch. Noah Gregson continues to lead a few laps here, so Gregson having a solid start here to this second stage now as he continues to look for that first career win, but he would quickly give up the lead to the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Now is right in front of us. Brad Keselowski's teammate Ryan Blaney blows the right front tire into the outside wall, makes some contact there as he comes through out of turns 4. Hamlin involved now as a caution comes out here at Richmond Raceway. Blaney is going to now DNF 2 races in a row. He DNF'd last episode at Bristol Motor Speedway, and he had quite the crash with Bubba Wallace involved, his good friend, and here he is today blowing the right front tire and DNFing once again at Richmond. A strong season it has been so far for Ryan Blaney, and what is, I feel like, a make-or-break season for him in the career mode. And here he is DNFing 2 races in a row. Very unfortunate for him, but he's gotten a good chunk of points so far early in this season, so he should still be inside the playoffs at the end of this episode, even after pretty much getting last place points for the last 2 races now, as Brad Keselowski continues to lead over drivers like Noah Gregson, Harrison Burton up in the mix, Eric Jones in the McLaren as well. Harrison Burton, I've mentioned a few times, had a very up and down season so far, and I think it was Las Vegas. He was right up in the mix for the win, and then things just didn't go right for him, and then, well, of course, we ended up winning that race in kind of dominating fashion, really because of luck. Now as we come through out of turns 2, passing Anthony Alfredo up the inside, you can see in your top left with the lap count a lot more laps here in stage 2 than stage 1, as I make a mistake there into the corner, and that opens the door for Kyle Busch to try and get up my inside. There was a little bit of contact between himself and I, and we hold on to the position briefly now as we exit turns 4 and lap 14. We were now up the inside of our Hendrick teammate of Kyle Larson, who continues to look for that first win since his NASCAR return back a few seasons ago in that 43 car, now in his 3rd season since his comeback, as we're up the inside of our other teammate, Chase Elliott. He would actually end up clearing me on the exit of turns 4 on lap 16 and hold on briefly to that 12th spot. Right now, myself and Chase, we're battling it out for the best spot of Hendrick Motorsports right now, so clearly not a great day so far for Hendrick Motorsports, but plenty of time to turn it around now as I would get up the inside of Christopher Bell, as Chase had now worked himself into the top 10, and I'm trying to get up to P12 here, up the inside of that 20 now, as I was kind of struggling still at this point, trying to just get the run off the corner and be able to contend with these guys that are really using this outside here when I'm on the inside of them to their advantage to get a way better run off and clear me. But fortunately this time through the center of the corner, we clear Christopher Bell, move up into P12, some contact actually right there on the exit of the corner with Gregson. I just completely misjudged the space I had, and he goes sideways into turn 3. He makes a big save behind us, fortunately, but I just costed him quite a bit of ground there as I barely scraped the outside wall on the exit of turns 4. But of course we just have to focus on moving forwards here. We will get to the inside of Harrison Burton with now 14 laps to go as we went down into turns 1, and now we're going to pass him, and for the, I think the first time today, we move inside the top 10 here at Richmond Raceway. So we would continue to try and fight our way forwards within the final 10 laps of the stage. We had now gotten to the inside of William Byron there in that 88 car now, as he's been having a strong season as well. He's also had a few issues with DNFs as well, just like Ryan Blaney has had, but he's still having a strong season points-wise when he's not having issues now, as we would just continue on our way. We would get up the inside of Ross Chastain, another driver who's really struggled in this career mode, but is now seeming to be turning it up this season after that late, really good performance last season with that first career win for him at Martinsville Speedway in the second to final race. Now as we go down into turn 3, now on lap 33 of 36, the caution actually comes out in stage 2 3 laps early there. Could not find the reason for the caution in the replays, but we get P8, so 3 points for us here in stage 2, as Eric Jones ended up winning stage 2 in that McLaren. So he sweeps the first 2 stages, some crucial stage points there, and 2 playoff points. So a big day so far for that McLaren team. Smith is struggling a little bit, but overall this season, we've definitely been seeing improved performance overall for McLaren Racing here, as we actually gain one spot there on the pit lane. Get ready to go green for this third and final stage from the 7th position, as Erik Jones looks to get that second win here with that McLaren team. He picked up his first win with McLaren last season at Michigan, the same race that we DNF'd, so we didn't actually get to see it happen. We just saw it in the race results here, but Erik now has 3 career wins. Of course, he won 2 races with that 20 car. We came in and put Erik out of the Cup Series for a brief amount of time here in the career mode now, as actually the 9 car of Elliott goes sideways after I got into the back of him on the exit of turn 2. He checks up big time. I hit him again as we exit turns 4, and it's a very chaotic start to this third and final stage. Not what we were looking for whatsoever now, as up at the front though, Cole Custer is actually up the inside of Erik Jones for the lead, currently 3 wide behind us between Burton Reddick and Kevin Harvick now, as we're looking to the right hand side of Harvick's teammate of DeBenedetto, but we slide in behind DeBenedetto as we go down into turn 3. So now Custer to the lead, Keselowski up the inside of Erik Jones to try and take P2 away. Now it appears that Erik Jones will drop down to P3, as now Custer, he moves up to the top and already throws away the lead to Keselowski, and Custer is still looking for that first win in the 41 car in our career mode now, as we're taking 3 wide again with Austin Dillon and Harrison Burton. I send it really hard into the corner, but Burton still gets up my inside on the exit of turn 4, and now Bubba Wallace, he's going to get to the attack. He really hasn't been in the picture today, and all of a sudden here he is trying to get into the top 10 as we go down into turns 1, and I continue to make mistakes there, nearly just slamming into the side of the 3 of Austin Dillon. We're 3 wide now with Kevin Harvick and Kyle Larson, and we would end up settling in behind both of them. William Byron would end up getting up my inside. We would drop all the way down to P13 after restarting P7 there for the start of this third and final stage. So, I mean, a disastrous start to this final stage, to say the least now, as we've dropped a bunch of positions as we're up the inside of that 42 of Ross Chastain, and finally, we would get past him, and then we would get up the inside of Bubba Wallace again, past him as well for P11, and we were now starting to work our way back forwards a little bit here now as we came through to lap 69. Nice Austin Cindric, though. He was running up towards the front earlier in this race. He kind of got shuffled back, and now he was working his way back to the field. He passed me with no problem at all here with 31 laps to go. So now I was kind of trying to follow him for a few laps as I was up the inside of Harrison Burton, a driver that has run well this race as well, but now seems to be falling down the order a little bit here as we go down into turns 1, up the inside as well of Kevin Harvick, as we're going to be 3 wide with him and Bowman for a moment, but Harvick backs out of the 3 wide, and we would pass him as well. So back into the top 10, and then we get up the inside of our teammate of Chase Elliott, and just continue to try and use this inside to our advantage here as we close into the final portions of this race now, as Keselowski continues to lead the way now as we were trying to get up the inside of Matt DiBenedetto. Couldn't quite make it happen here on lap 73, as he's now side by side for a brief moment with Alex Bowman, as Zane Smith working his way through the field, and as I say that, Smith blows a tire, slams into the side of Chase Elliott, and that's going to bring out a caution here, and it is also going to end the day for Zane Smith now, as the caution is out. We I decided to put 2 right side tires on the car, and that ended up being the complete wrong call here in Richmond. For the second race in a row, we have made a bit of a pit error, but this time it's probably going to be even worse than the last one at Bristol, because we're going to drop like a rock here as we're back underway, but hopefully we can still hang on to a top 10. And what I did, usually when cautions come out and I don't know what to do, I look at past career mode videos and see if there was a caution that came out at a similar time, and we had a caution come out in a past career mode video at this track around the same time, within about 5 laps or so, and that was what determined for me to go to 2 tires on the pit call, and well, the other drivers took 4 tires, so we made the wrong call obviously, and we're going to pay the price for it here in the long run now, as 41 of Cole Custer moves back to the lead. Our teammate of Kyle Larson goes to the inside. I don't want to hold him up too much, as well as I don't want to hold up drivers like Brad Keselowski as well as Erik Jones in the McLaren, because they clearly have cars capable of winning this race. So I'm trying to get out of the way, but also still race at the same time and get a good finish for this 24 car. But Erik Jones in the McLaren, he would actually just drive right on by me on the outside, no problem. Then William Byron, our affiliate teammate, would get to my inside, or my outside, sorry, as I'm on the inside. And I'm now at this point, I'm trying to race as hard as I can and hold off these guys. So we actually do not hold off Byron. He gets past me, he passes Kyle Larson, moves up to P4, and then Alex Bowman actually passes me as well. So we drop down to P7. Bubba Wallace side by side with Kevin Harvick behind us. But once we drop down to P6, P7, we finally seemed to start settling in here and kind of holding our own. We were now actually fighting back up the inside of our teammate of Alex Bowman here through turns 3 and out of turns 4 with 17 laps remaining in this race as Kyle Larson runs up there in P6 now as Matt DiBenedetto, he's trying to look to the inside of Bowman as we exit turns 2. A bit of a mistake from myself, opening that door open for DiBenedetto to get up my inside here as I once again send it way too deep into turn 3, trying to defend over the 10 car and instead leave the door wide open, and that allows him as we come through out of turn 2 on lap 85 to get ahead. There's actually get a little bit loose, clip that outside while we don't really damage the car too much, so we're okay. It's just a little bit of visual damage as Austin Cindric, he's right behind myself, but we would actually fight back up the inside of DiBenedetto now as Eric Jones had retaken the lead with less than 15 laps to go in this race here as we go down into turns 3. So Eric Jones trying to pick up that victory for the first time this season and put himself into the playoffs now as he would finally get clear of DiBenedetto, and we would actually start closing in on our teammate of Kyle Larson, and only because he was actually running up a few lanes higher than what he needed to be. So we come through to lap 94. Keselowski actually back to the lead over William Byron and Eric Jones now as we go down into turns 1, but the caution comes out with 7 laps to go here as we run surprisingly well here in P6 with this pit mistake that we made. This is the best we've run all day, so I was very surprised by that. But now everybody, of course, going to be staying out, and this is going to give us about a 4-lap dash to determine the finish here at Richmond with Brad Keselowski, William Byron for Earnhardt Johnson Racing. Then you got Jones in the McLaren and Custer in P4. Some drivers with very few wins in their careers with a chance to get a big boost today with the victory that puts them in the playoffs now as we're back underway with 4 laps to go on the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway. Custer leaves the door wide open. I go up the inside 3 wide in the middle, and Eric Jones forces it 3 wide with Keselowski and Byron for the lead, and now Larson's going to follow through, and all of a sudden Kyle Larson goes from running about P5 to 2nd place into turn 3, and Jones goes from P3 to the lead now as we come through to turns 4 as we're going to make it 3 wide here on the outside of Byron and Keselowski. Larson looking for that first comeback victory still in the career mode, and Eric Jones, he goes all the way up to the top. Elliott forced it up the inside of the 88, so I'm back out of it right there, but now Kyle Larson to the inside of Eric Jones there as we go down into turns 3. Harvick up my inside. We're going to drop down another position here as we exit turns 4 to P7, but Kyle Larson with 2 laps to go moves to the front position here at Richmond Raceway now in the Toyota Owners 400. We come through out of turns 4 now, approaching the final lap. Keselowski to 2nd, Elliott to 3rd, Jones down to 4th as Kyle Larson leads away into turns 1 and 2 for the final time here as we go up the inside of Kevin Harvick, a little bit defensive over the 20 of Christopher Bell now as we exit turns 2 side by side and sideways as we exit the corner. Harvick clears us into turns 3 and 4, but Keselowski has nothing for Kyle Larson out of turns 4. Kyle Larson will come through to get his first win for Hendrick Motorsports here in the career mode in the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway as we bring the car home in P7, and just like that we get 3 Hendrick cars in the top 7, including as well an affiliate teammate of William Byron with the top 3 and Alex Bowman down there in P14. But Kyle Larson picks up the victory, something he couldn't do last season at Hendrick Motorsports. In last season in the career mode, he didn't really have much funding with that car. You saw or a lot of unsponsored races for Kyle Larson, and he missed the playoffs by a few points and never could win. But here he is today, winning the race at Richmond and locking himself in the playoffs as he runs P6 in the point standings. We actually get a much larger lead in the point standings after Hamlin and Kyle Busch struggled. We struggled, of course, at points as well, but they struggled even more. As always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. There you see the point standings on your screen. Of course, we didn't have an Xfinity race, so there you saw the quick playoff grid now as Stuart Friesen picked up his 2nd win of the season, their first multi-time winner this season in the Truck Series. Now, as we only have 1 multi-time winner in each 3 series currently so far here in the career mode, as we're the only multi-time winner in the Cup Series side, and Clements is the one in the Xfinity, and then of course Friesen in Cup. Now, as Custer currently holds the last spot in the playoffs with Harrison Burton 1 point out. But of course, before we end this episode, I just want to say a very quick thank you to the Going Racing members of MJ, Aiden, James, Joseph 9001, RJ, Timothy, Bubba Jr., Illinois Diecast, Brett Durward, Devin Roth, NASCAR Collector 3, as well as Movement. As I always say, you guys help me out a lot, and I really do appreciate it. So I will see you guys though in the next one at Talladega Super Speedway. Have a great day, everybody.